What's up, world? This is Ryan Banta again. Just wanted to touch base with you guys about a couple things. This week we're going to do a top five, and the five that we're going to do is why five reasons why women should be involved more in the coaching generally, and then also in the world of track and field. So, coming out of the Minnesota clinic, one of the really cool things that came out of that track and field clinic was the fact that they had a women's kind of leadership council that they had for track and field. And I was wondering why there was so many more women, it seemed to be at that clinic than other clinics. And they actually have a session that they do for women to meet up and to participate and be a part of fellowship with each other in the sport of track and field. And lo and behold, I don't know that that was the entire reason why we had so much higher participation of women at that clinic than any of the others that I've been in. But I have to imagine that that would be a major factor in the reason why there were so many women there. I was really astonished by it. It was very noticeable. And so I think that that's important when you have an opportunity to have fellowship and to have similar experiences and have sisterhood with people who are going through or have gone through things that you've experienced yourself. And it was really neat to see, and it was a really cool thing. And, being a man, let's start off right away. Number five on my list is women are going to have a better understanding of other women than men will ever have. And I know that we live in a world where, we talk about gender neutrality or gender equity. And that I think is a good thing. If we look at the happiest societies, they tend to be the most gender equitable. But I also think that, when we look at the world of men and women, is that we are a little bit different. Testosterone plays a role in how men behave differently than maybe women might behave. And so issues that pertain to women that may not pertain to men need to be discussed. And they need to be discussed in a place where these people feel safe. They feel that their viewpoints are respected and they're listened to. So, those are types of things that I think that, we need to have more women in coaching. Number four, I think that when we look at that really evil individual, Nazar, and all the horrible things that he did, I think having more women involved in coaching is not going to eliminate those things. And also, let's be honest, that men are not the only contributor to abusive behaviors. However, I think having women around and having that experience around and being able to be involved at a level that maybe some men are not comfortable with or uncomfortable with or don't even know how to act or respond, it holds everybody more accountable. And I think that accountability and that transparency is really good. And I think that it helps keep everybody on the right track when it comes to the female athletes that we're working with or male athletes who may be struggling with identity. And, that is important. We each play a role. Women and men play a role in society. And some of that is things that probably would need to be changed over time to become more gender equitable. But at the same time, while we're trying to achieve that gender equity, in the world of coaching, I think it's nice to have that balance of different types of personalities and different genders that are part of your staff. One of the best things that I've ever had happen to me as a coach is to have female coaches on my staff to help me have a different perspective, to help me think about the way that I talk to athletes and how I have those conversations. And that's not only just for female athletes. That's also, hey, ever thought about this? I heard this and you may think you're expressing this, but what you showed with your face or whatever seemed to be completely different. And having that different perspective from a different experience that women have versus men, I think is really, really important. And I think that it will cut down on a lot of these future abuses and things like that so that we don't, hopefully will not have to have a Me Too rallying cry in the future because we've cut down on those activities such a way that we reach a more healthy, sustainable relationship between men and women, and especially men and young female athletes. The other thing, driving up participation. When female athletes get from middle school to high school, the participation crashes. And I think one of the reasons why is that not only when we talk about professional sports and athletics and opportunities for females, a lot of you probably don't know that only 6% of the media coverage for female athletes is out there in the total coverage. Out of 100%, only 6% is female. And then of that female coverage, it's mostly sexualized. And what message does that send to our athletes? And when they look around and they go, well, maybe not professional sports, but maybe I'd really like to get into coaching. But there isn't female head coaches. There aren't women coaches. What message does that send? So I implore my female counterparts and the female athletes who are looking for a future to be involved in coaching, do it. We need you to do it. When we look at my analytics for my website or for when I put out advertisements for my book, only 6% of the people who view my web pages for my training and for the race videos are female. Only 6%. And we know that there are more than 6% of the female population, or just the general population, which includes the women, that want to participate in track and field or are interested in track and field. And I think that if you have these living, breathing examples of women coaches and female coaches, that gives that athlete the feeling and desire. Maybe I'll continue to keep doing this and continue to be an athlete because one day I want to be just like Coach so-and-so because she was so awesome and she was so amazing. And I'm going to stay in this because that's what I'm going to make my career out of and my life out of. And when we get that drive, we get that participation to be sustained, we're going to have better athletes. We're going to have healthier athletes. And most importantly, we're going to have good lifestyles that these young women are going to be able to live for the rest of their life. Think about how powerful that is for them to be able to continue to participate in adolescence all the way into their early years of college when some people are making really bad decisions, both health-wise, socially, and things like that. Anything we can do to save these kids, anything we can do to get them away from their cell phones, the better, because it's better for them. We've seen studies released last week where it talked about the mental health of young people who participate in athletics is so much better when they're able to be involved in something versus staring at a phone, meeting people in real life, being around people in real life instead of having friends over the phone. It's so amazing. And so having that increased participation is huge. When we don't have a lot of women coaches in our sport, we're cutting off 50% of the population. That means that the great coaches that are here in the past, like the great Pat Summits and great coaches like Carol Smith Gilbert, there's many more of them that never even thought that they had a chance to be a great coach. And now they maybe have a great, wonderful life and they're happy with their life. But that's 50% of the people that we've cut out that can change lives, that can improve people, that can make their lives better. We've got to bring in more of those 50%, the 51%, if you actually think about the real population numbers. That's so important. And then the final thing is living, breathing, positive examples where women can look at other women in positions of leadership. Oftentimes, the first women leaders that these kids ever meet will be in the classroom, and then will also be in coaching. That's your first opportunity to see what leadership is. And in the world of sport is one of the last places where we have an opportunity to actually say no, to challenge people, to make people gritty, to improve their mental toughness so that when they become an adult, they know how to plow through. They know the discipline. They know the things it requires to be a great citizen. And if we only have 50% of the population and it only looks one way and it's only of one gender, we're cutting out opportunities for people later to see that leadership in real life and to believe that, maybe I'll be a coach, maybe I'll be a teacher, and then maybe one day I'll be a congressman, and then maybe one day I'll be a senator, and then maybe one day I'll be the president of the United States or a CEO of my company. And the leadership experience that I saw exampled by these great, wonderful women that have been in my life, I can apply to my experience when it becomes my turn to be the mentor, when it becomes my turn to lead the group, when it becomes my turn to make those tough decisions that are needed for us to be successful, both socially, economically, and politically. Thanks, guys. Top 5 of the week. Enjoy. See you guys soon.